1985. You grip your theatre seat as the pale rider emerges from fog like a supernatural force of vengeance, organ music swelling, horses breathing steam, the metallic taste of fear in the air. You believe you're watching Eastwood's masterpiece. But this film became a launching pad for some and a tombstone for others. The preacher saved the miners but couldn't save his own cast from Hollywood's brutal reality. Let's ride through 41 years of triumph, tragedy, and total transformation. Mount your horse. This ride doesn't promise a happy ending. Number 1. Clint Eastwood. In 1985, Clint Eastwood stood at the pinnacle of Western filmmaking. At 55, directing and starring in Pale Rider, he brought a supernatural edge to the genre that made him famous. What audiences didn't realize was they were witnessing Eastwood's silent farewell to westerns, a genre that transformed him from TV cowboy to cinematic icon. The years following Pale Rider revealed Eastwood's true vision. He pivoted dramatically, focusing on directing serious dramas. The result? Multiple Academy Awards, critical acclaim, and elevation to Hollywood royalty. Films like Unforgiven, $1 Million Baby, and Mystic River showcased a filmmaker whose ambitions stretched far beyond shootouts and saloons. Now, at 96 in 2026, Eastwood has outlived most of his Pale Rider co-stars. While his contemporaries faded, he continued directing into his 90s, crafting films with the steady hand of a master who defied age and expectation. The preacher delivered justice in Carbon Canyon, but Clint Eastwood delivered something far more valuable: cinematic immortality. Number 2. Michael Moriarty. When Michael Moriarty portrayed Hull Barret, the determined miner who stands up to corporate bullies, he was already a celebrated actor. At 44, with a Tony Award and an Emmy for Holocaust, Moriarty seemed destined for lasting stardom. What audiences couldn't see was the storm brewing within. After Pale Rider, Moriarty's behavior grew increasingly erratic. He became obsessed with political conspiracies, launching bitter public feuds with government officials and industry executives. His once promising career imploded as directors labeled him difficult and unstable. By the early 1990s, Moriarty had fled to Canada, claiming political persecution. His appearances became limited to fringe productions and occasional guest spots. He reinvented himself as a jazz musician, while his acting opportunities dwindled to nearly nothing. The brilliant performer who stood shoulder to shoulder with Eastwood now exists primarily in film archives rather than on modern screens. Hull Barret fought valiantly for his land, but Michael Moriarty couldn't win the battle for his own stability. Number 3. Carrie Snodgrass. As Sarah Wheeler, the widow seeking protection from the Hood's thugs, Carrie Snodgrass brought quiet dignity to Pale Rider. At 39, she portrayed a woman finding strength through faith and resilience. Behind that performance lay a troubling reality. Snodgrass was already navigating a declining career and personal struggles. The revelation that shocked longtime fans came years later. After a meteoric rise with an Oscar nomination for Diary of a Mad Housewife in 1970, Snodgrass had abandoned Hollywood at her peak to raise a child with musician Neil Young. Her return to acting never recaptured that early momentum. Pale Rider represented not a comeback but a brief respite in her downward trajectory. Post-Pale Rider, Snodgrass took increasingly smaller roles while battling health issues. Her final decade was marked by financial struggles and declining opportunities. In 2004, at just 57, she died waiting for a liver transplant, her promising career long since buried. Sarah Wheeler found salvation in the preacher's intervention, but Carrie Snodgrass never found the peace she deserved. Number 4. Chris Penn. When 20-year-old Chris Penn exploded onto the screen as Josh LaHood, the villainous mine owner's sadistic son, audiences witnessed raw talent in its purest form. His performance combined juvenile cruelty with dangerous unpredictability, a career-making turn for Sean Penn's younger brother. Hollywood insiders predicted superstardom, with family connections, undeniable screen presence, and intense method commitment. Penn seemed destined for leading man status. Instead, his post-Pale Rider years revealed a troubling pattern of self-destruction. While his filmography expanded to include memorable roles in Reservoir Dogs and True Romance, Penn struggled privately with weight fluctuations, substance issues, and the constant comparison to his more celebrated brother. The industry's demands and his own demons created a perfect storm of personal crisis. In January 2006, the news shocked Hollywood. Chris Penn was found dead in his Santa Monica apartment at only 40 years old. The official cause, heart disease complicated by an enlarged heart and prescription medication. Josh LaHood's violent end in Pale Rider foreshadowed Penn's own premature exit, his potential forever unfulfilled. Number 5. Richard Daart, the corporate villain who found late-life fame. As Coy LaHood, the ruthless mining baron destroying Carbon Canyon for profit, Richard Daart created a villain of calculated menace. At 56, Daart approached the role as simply another character in a long career of supporting parts, never imagining what waited just beyond the horizon. Immediately after Pale Rider wrapped, Daart received an offer that would transform his life. NBC cast him as Leland Mackenzie, the patriarch of hit legal drama L.A. Law. For 8 seasons, Daart dominated primetime television, earning an Emmy Award and achieving fame at an age when most actors faced declining opportunities. L.A. Law's success represented a rare Hollywood phenomenon, an actor finding his defining role after decades of anonymity. Daart worked steadily until retiring in the early 2000s. In 2015, he passed away at 86, having experienced a second act most actors only dream about. Coy LaHood exploited others for wealth, but Richard Daart struck gold when he least expected it. Number 6. Sydney Penny. At just 14, Sydney Penny portrayed Megan Wheeler, the innocent teenager whose infatuation with the preacher forms Pale Rider's emotional core. Her performance balanced childlike faith with emerging womanhood. Impressive work from an actor already seasoned despite her youth. Penny was no newcomer to Hollywood. By 1985, she had already played young Meggie in the miniseries The Thorn Birds and worked extensively in television. Pale Rider should have catapulted her to film stardom. Instead, she followed a different path entirely. Post-Pale Rider, Penny found consistent work in daytime television, appearing in All My Children, Santa Barbara, and The Bold and the Beautiful. While these roles provided steady employment, they kept her firmly in the soap opera world, away from film opportunities that might have expanded her range. Now 55, Penny has largely stepped away from acting, occasionally appearing in faith-based productions that reflect her personal beliefs. Her quiet exit from mainstream entertainment demonstrates Hollywood's fickle nature. Even association with Eastwood's legendary status couldn't guarantee lasting film success. Megan Wheeler believed in miracles, but Sydney Penny discovered Hollywood rarely delivers them. Number 7. Richard Kiel. When Richard Kiel appeared as Club La Hood's imposing enforcer, audiences immediately recognized the 7'2" actor from his iconic role as Jaws in The Spy Who Loved Me. His towering physicality made him perfect for intimidating characters, but Kiel harbored a secret known only to those who worked with him. Despite his frightening screen presence, Kiel was renowned as one of Hollywood's kindest souls. Interviews with Pale Rider, cast members consistently mention his gentle nature and self-deprecating humor. This contrast between his imposing appearance and gentle personality defined both his career and personal relationships. After Pale Rider, Kiel continued finding work playing variations of the gentle giant or fearsome monster. He embraced his unique physical presence while advocating for actors with disabilities. In his later years, he became a popular figure at fan conventions, where he shared stories from his remarkable career. In 2014, Kiel passed away at 74, leaving behind a legacy of kindness that contradicted his threatening screen persona. Club crushed enemies for LaHood's benefit, but Richard Kiel only crushed hearts with his extraordinary compassion. Number 8. John Russell. As Marshall Stockburn, the film's mysterious primary antagonist, John Russell brought decades of Western expertise to Pale Rider. At 64, with credits including the television series Lawman and countless film appearances, Russell embodied the cold-blooded gunfighter with effortless authority. What many viewers didn't realize was that they were watching a genre legend in one of his final significant roles. Russell had ridden alongside every major Western star from John Wayne to Clint Eastwood, bridging Hollywood's golden age and its modern incarnation. After Pale Rider, Russell appeared in only a handful of productions before retiring. His health declined in the years that followed, and in 1991, he passed away at 70. His death marked the loss of another connection to Hollywood's Western heyday, a tradition Eastwood himself would help preserve. Stockburn hunted the preacher with deadly intent, but John Russell had already conquered the frontier long before their fictional confrontation. Examining the fates of Pale Rider's ensemble reveals a disturbing pattern. An unusually high percentage of cast members experience career collapse, personal tragedy, or premature death in the decades following the film's release. This statistical anomaly has led some film historians to speak of the curse of Carbon Canyon, a tongue-in-cheek reference that masks genuine human suffering. The brutal reality is that Hollywood's glamorous facade conceals an industry that consumes talent and discards those who can no longer serve its purposes. Addiction, mental health struggles, typecasting, and the relentless pressure of remaining relevant claimed victims from Pale Rider's cast just as they have throughout cinema history. Only Eastwood and a select few others navigated these treacherous waters successfully. His longevity and continued relevance represent the exception rather than the rule, a sobering reminder of entertainment's capricious nature. The preacher brought justice to Carbon Canyon's miners, but couldn't save his own congregation from Hollywood's unforgiving reality. In Hollywood, some actors become immortal, others become cautionary tales, and a few simply fade away like morning mist. The Pale Rider delivered justice, but time delivered the final verdict on them all.